Okay, Duane here from Duane's Astrophotography. We're going to be doing some pics in sight. Let's do some processing. It's been a while since I've done a video. Let's go up here. I just got back from a trip to Cosmic Campground in New Mexico, USA. And the bortle number there with my meter was 21.62 magnitude arcsec squared. In theory, the highest number can be 22.00. So this was a very dark location. Let's come up here into pics in sight. Let's open my project. Now probably we're going to see this project in its entirety. Go over the equipment list quickly. It was a Pallades 68mm William Optics septuplet with the PPO 180 guide scope with a 178 ASI 178 on the guide scope and a 2600 monochrome ZWO ASI 2600 monochrome camera. Used a EQ6R Pro mount. And the target here is the Antares region. And there it is. So let's pop this down and we'll take a look at what it takes to make this image happen. It's quite a lot of processing. And let's go here to our different images. Get me down out of the way here a little bit. All right. Again, this was pictures I'm going to develop from a pristine sky location. Essentially the darkest skies that you can that one could visit. And you can see the data is just, well, the data is outstanding. Lots of contrast. Let's head up here to the HA2 now. This was the process that I guided where we use LRGB, but we don't use L as a luminance, IR, and UV cut filter only. We'll go ahead and use an HA filter. So the HA filter that created this is the Antlia, the 3 nanometer 2-inch mounted filter. So just to make that clear. And we have the HA for our luminance. We got a red, green, as we can see there with the titles, and blue. Okay. Just look at this for a moment. So check that out. That is, in a word, wow. Okay. I was very, very fortunate to get one night out of my 10-day stay. As far as driving, it was a 24-hour drive for me, one direction, and I only had one night. So this is how astrophotography, as anyone who does it knows, is very sporadic at best. And when you lock into that lucky night, you're very lucky. Okay, enough talking. Let's head to the processing of this. Let's go ahead now, and I tried this a couple of different ways, but I think the best way seemed to be not to do the background modelization and let this stuff kind of float through. But I believe what I found here, and I have processed this many times now, at least several, that the HA was well served, if you will, by doing the background modelization. And what background modelization does is, here's automatic background extractor. What it does is it picks out points all along the image and enhances the background parts and brings forward the foreground parts. While this is a bit obtuse with space, because objects that look closer may not be. Still, we're going to make a picture here. We're trying to make a very three-dimensional looking picture, and contrast is a very important part of dimension in our senses when we look at a picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go through with this only on HA. So we come up here to correction within the automatic background extractor. And before I go on, I want to make sure my sound works, because I've been screwed many times over that. So cut. Okay, we're back. Let's do this automatic background extractor upon HA2 right here. We've got it open. We're going to come down here and we're going to do a correction here, and we have to choose a correction. Let's choose subtraction. We could choose division, but that just ups the ante, if you will. It causes even more of the effect to occur is the result of it. So I'm going to do the subtraction because I don't want so much of this process to be applied. This, by the way, for those of you who are wondering, this is extremely, extremely artistic, what I'm doing here. In other words, there are no cut and dried rules. This tolerance, for example, I'm going to let that stay the same. I could move it if I wanted to. And it's based on a lot of experimenting that we do. Okay, so just to get that out of the way. So what I'm going to do now is come up here, and I'm not going to hit the normalize. We're just going to go ahead and drop this on. In PixInsight, this is what we do. We take the little half square triangle, right triangle, and drop it onto what we are trying to do. Now, there is something before we do that. We want to make sure we discard the background model. Because what that's going to do, if we didn't check this, it'll show us what we have done as a picture. And we really don't want that. We don't want the result. We only want the result. We don't want what was done to get the result, if that makes sense. So let's just get the result right now. In PixInsight, we of course have the processing window here, which is and that's not we're not talking about that type of processing. As far as a colon, that would be for a proctologist. Okay, let's move over here now. We've got looks like 9 seconds that happened here. That looks like it's all finished. Now let's see what it did. Now we have ABE. This means the automatic background extractor. So let's just close this tool and compare the two. This is the window we worked on, and this is the result. So you can see here quite a difference in this, and what it's done. If you look at it, it's actually created what I would call like a thicker looking image, especially out in here. Look how much it's kind of brought this side forward more. See how this was darker out here, and it's kind of evened up this part of the image to look even with this. Now, sometimes we really don't even want this to happen. And I have to do some good judgment here. Which image do we want to work with? I'm thinking this is interesting looking the way it's done this, but it seems like it may have actually made the image worse for me. When I look at this, makes it look thicker and maybe not quite as cut out. This is more cut out looking and contrasty. So for this case, I'm going to get rid of this. We're going to try one more thing here. PixInsight is endless. You could spend days doing things on this program. So it's for the sake of the video and for the approach I'm using, I'm going to try to speed this along. Let's try one more thing here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to normalize subtraction. And we're going to make one change here. We're going to take this tolerance and scoot this tolerance down to maybe 0.6. And then let's see what we get. Okay, again, I feel like that this image seems to now be like more data is the best thing I can explain. Here it doesn't look like we have as much data here. This is almost looking like we took more subs, right? Do you see that? So I believe I'm going to take this one because it looks more like it has just more meat. This one over here has maybe a little more contrast, but I'm liking this one better now than this one. Again, because it's sort of evening out this part of it, which is darker, and it's making this side a little lighter colored. Could be adding noise to do that. It's hard to say exactly at this point, but I'm going to go ahead and select this one. So that's my decision. We're going to select the background extracted version. Now we're going to iconize this down here. And anytime we want to iconize down, we go for this icon right here. All right, now let's do some things here. One of the first things we have to do, and that is we have to make sure that these pictures are all completely aligned. And sometimes during the stacking process, there are alignment issues where the registration is off. And by that I mean when we lay these on top of one another, like when I click that in like that, the stars are not precisely on top of one another in each picture, and we'll have a registration issue. So we want to make sure we're not doing that. We're going to go to using this tool here. It's process, all processes, and it's star alignment. We're going to make a reference image. We're going to use the HA as our reference image right here. And then we're going to use the rest of these, green, blue, and so on. And we're going to take those and drop them into the target images. You have to forgive this thing dropping it over here. It's a little bit confusing. But we've got blue, green, and red here. Make sure we don't duplicate. So blue, green, and red with ABE. Again, this is the reference image to which these will be lined up. Okay, so we're going to now go ahead and do the apply global. And it will come over here and it will generate all of the images based on the HA. And it actually will move things around, switch them slightly, moving them so that the registrations will be correct. And this is a giant file that I have here. And I see that during the crunching of this data, my video is jerky, so I'm hoping it will not end up that way at the end here. Okay, here's 3 of 3. Looks like our last one coming out. Registering now, the last one. Okay. Here's what we're looking for, is the number 0 right there. For 0 failures. Okay. Let's kick this stuff off here. We now have registered. So the files we initially used, in other words, this red file right here, is now a registered version. So this file right here is a registered version of this file. So that being said, we're going to take the original files and we'll keep them right down here. We're done with those. Now we will start using these files, which are our registered files. All right, let's remove these stars. And actually, what I found to be true also is not to remove the stars. I've got a much better result without removing the stars. So we're going to do that again. This is the first time I've never removed the stars from a process. So let's just leave the stars in. Come over here and do the next step, which will be stretching these images. Go to Script, Easy Processing Suite. And we'll go to the yellow icon here, Soft Stretch, Easy Soft Stretch. We'll start off with HA here. And we'll just stretch it. We're going to stretch it exactly as it needs it. Now the aggressiveness I like to turn up because it gives me a brighter picture most of the time. Let's go up with that aggressiveness, and it does also look like to me that this is a little darker, but let's look and see what it looks like. See, it is a little darker. I don't know if you saw that on YouTube, but that actually looks very good. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that. We'll come up here now to the red, do the same thing, process, Script, Easy Processing Suite, and Easy Soft Stretch. We're back. This video quality is not quite as good in here. I apologize for that. But hey, it's my mug. Here I am. It's dropped me down a little bit. And I had to change the rooms. Okay. So here we are stretching this image, and we've determined that we needed a full aggressive stretch here. We're now going to stretch the next image. We're going to do all of these the same. Very important. So when you do your stretching, typically what I'll do is not change these numbers and keep all of them the same. This is such consistent, beautiful data. We don't want to taint it. Okay, we'll take this back down again. And one thing I'm not seeing is where my previous file went. Let's take a look at that now. Here's red. This is HA. Okay. And I believe we've stretched it. Now, if you ever want to know if you've stretched an image or not in PixInsight, you come right up to this and click it. And indeed, we have stretched it. Now, if I had this one open here, let me just show this quickly. If we had the green open, which we know we've not stretched yet, I'll go up here and we see what happens to it. See, none of these are in the raw form. Okay, so these have all been stretched, and it looks like that I'm using files now that I see it that have been stretched already for the video. So that being said, I think we're going to be okay here. Maybe we've done some double stretching on some of these. They look very good. So we're going to go ahead and continue our process precisely as though we've had no issues here. We come up here and do a script on our green and do our easy processing suite and do a soft stretch. Pull this over, let it look that way. Let's run it and see what we get. A little darker, it looks beautiful. Okay, again, what I'm saying is I believe I'm stretching these twice, which is okay. It's all a process. So to keep it even, we're going to stretch them all. Come up here, easy processing suite, easy soft stretch. Keep everything the same. Again, right here, all the way up, everything's the same. All the numbers are the same. Bam, it's getting a little darker. It actually looks more contrasted, which is always a good thing. Check this data out. That's just so rich. Okay, let's try not to mess it up. Because many times I look at this and say, you know, this looks like a pretty good picture. I should just go ahead and hang that on the wall. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and try to do an LRGB here. Very obvious process. It shouldn't be that difficult to do. Okay, here's all our images again here. This is an old process. Let's put it over there. Now we're going to come in here and just open all these up here one at a time. Get them all together. And this back down here again. And what we want to do here is combine these. So we'll go with the HA. And I don't want to be confusing here. The size is not that important at this moment for these. Get them all the same size here. Again, it doesn't even matter. Let's just do it that way. Make sure these are kind of relatively the same size, just for the video. Again, that doesn't matter whether the picture is, you know, pulled down like this, or if this one's pulled up like this. Or what I usually do is just hit this button right here and get them all the same size on the screen. It makes for large images, but it's pretty good way to do it. You get to see everything in detail, see if there's anything you need to change. And since we're leaving the stars and everything all put together here, we're not going to really do much now with any of these star programs I have, the RC stuff. I think I'm going to leave this alone. If I have to do some star manipulation, I'll do it at the end. Okay, so let's go in now and process this by adding. And we're going to come in with our LRGB combination right here. And this is where we get to see for the first time the color image. See a lot of things. See if our images are balanced. It looks like we have a good RGB balance, and it also looks as though, you know, the stars are aligned and all that. We're going to see that right now. So we'll go to HA2 here, and we're going to hit it up here, put it in for our luminance. Take our red in red and our green in green, one by one. Nothing funny here. Blue into blue. RGB is correct, and HA is our luminance. We leave all these things alone, leave all this stuff alone, and we go ahead and we hit the button and see our first color image pop out here. See what it looks like. Many times I'll tell you I've had a surprise on this screen where you know, things are just not right, but hopefully for the video here, see what we come up with. 72% gives us our progress. 90%, we're almost there. Drum roll. There's our image. So I don't know about you, but that's a done image. I'm not sure we could do anything any better to this image. Okay, the data was just so amazing in this dark sky site. Let's go in here and try one thing. I am going to do something here that is maybe a little bit obtuse and unnecessary at this point. As again, I say, this looks very good. We might decide to maybe do just a bit of star cleanup. Let's just try it and see here. Process, all processes, and blur exterminator. And we're going to try to do this all on one field here. We'll sharpen the stars. Let's make this about maybe 18. Leave this at 0. And let's do the non-stellar adjustments. And let's sharpen this by about maybe 40%. Okay, just leave the correct first checked. And let's do the luminance only. Let's see what this does for us. This is a gigantous file, as we can see. It's still initializing. Now it's starting off here. And I do have the CUDA running here, I believe. And actually, to be honest, I'm not sure if CUDA really works here. Let's find out. Control-Alt-Delete here. Let's go to Task Manager, and let's just see what this is doing. Processes, performance. GPU, yeah, it's looking like here's the CPU running at 45%, and here's GPU, NVIDIA GeForce. You can see here that it is at 84%, which is quite large. So it is using the CUDA and the environment variables that I changed to accelerate this system, even though it's taking forever. It is a giant file is the reason, so you have to bear with me if you would here for the video. This is really taking quite a long time. We're at 70%. I did drizzle this file, 2x drizzle, when I stacked it, so it made the file very large. Okie doke. Well, okie dokie, Smokey. Yeah, I don't really say that very often. I find these videos brings out the foolishness in me sometimes. All right, this is our RGB image, and now we can make sure here. Let's take a look, and let's do a image and undo, and let's just look at this and see what it looks like. Okay, we can really see that if you're, I'm not sure if you can see it on YouTube or not, but let's just go right up into here for a moment. Let's look right in here. Now, with the blur exterminator, I'm going to go ahead and redo it. Look right in here. Watch how the stars are treated. Here we go. There. So it seems to kind of suppress the small stars a little bit. And what that does for me is it brings out the nebula somewhat, makes it look a little neater. Look right in here. Let's look right in here now. Let's do the same thing. Let's go to image, and then let's undo the blur exterminator and look right in here, and you tell me which one you like. Here is the blur exterminator that has been applied. Now we're going to remove it. Okay, watch right here. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. There. it turns up the star brightness, really, is what it's doing. And I really can't say which one is better. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to rerun Blur Exterminator. And I'm going to... this is all about choice and artistry is what this is. We're really painting this picture. I know that's maybe a crazy thing to say. We're not altering the picture, but we really are. We really are enhancing and altering it. We're not altering the data, the actual specific star locations and that kind of thing. But we are changing the relative brightness in different parts because we want this picture to look really just pop out and look beautiful. So if we do some study here and think, well, the stars are there, so we should keep them here. Well, again, what we're doing is kind of taking away from the nebula, okay, in the picture. We don't want to do that, although it'd be hard to take away from this nebula. Look at that. Okay, but let's go out here to, let's do this again. Let's do a process, all processes. Go back to Russell Croman's Blur Exterminator. And we're going to, let's make sure that we have removed the Blur Exterminator. Yeah, it's removed, okay. And should have been able to see that. Let's go here to sharpen. What we're going to do is remove a little less of the stars, I think. Let's go down here to about 11. Let's see just what that does, okay? And I liked what it was doing with this, so we're going to just leave it, okay? So we're going to luminance only. Let's just see what this does. Again, this is going to take a while for the video. Apologize for that. But the bytes are dancing as fast as they can. Okay. Slow initialization because the file is so large. Okay, we're approaching 50%. Should be done here in about a minute. Bear with me just a moment here. What I did was have some dead air there. So I guess dead air is okay when you have a music background, but I know it is maybe too quiet. You know, when I did this polar alignment, I haven't been using the ASI Air Plus polar alignment because I just haven't had very good luck with it. So I still have been using the PoleMaster camera, which is an excellent camera mounted right on the EQ6R Pro on the RA axis, and I use ASI Air to manipulate and move the telescope just like I used to with my hand control. Works out really nice, and I get the PoleMaster NCP alignment that way. So that's what I did for this picture. Looks like the stars came out really very, very pinpoint. All right, we're at 98, 99. Here we go, and 100%. Let's see what it looks like. Here it is. Keep looking. There we go. That's a reasonable compromise. So what we did was remove this down from 20. I think we had it, whatever we had it before. I forgot the number. Down to 11, and that has given us a wonderful result. So let's flip back and forth and look again for the YouTube here. Let's see if YouTube will show us. This is the undoing of the Blur Exterminator right there, and this is the redoing of it right there, and it does reduce the stars slightly, maybe enhances a little bit. Now we are going to do one last thing here, and it's going to be we're going to save this file, save as, and we will save it. Let's save it as image 19x. That sounds like a good thing to use. Hit the save, do it at 32 bits. Now, no, we do it at 16 because we're stretched. I'm going to keep it at 16 bits. And we're going to open up Photoshop because Photoshop does have some some nice things. This tends to look a little bit flat here. Not flat, but it looks almost like cake frosting. It's three-dimensional looking, but we don't see much of the wisps coming out, especially down in here. Seems like it's flattened that out pretty well. So we're going to go into Photoshop here and try to fix that with clarity in Camera Raw filter. Very good tool. I just want to show that. And that'll be the end of it. I guess a good videographer would have had this already open, so I apologize for that. Let's go up here to File and open the file, and the file is going to be that funny name we just did, 19x, open, and here we go. Again, it's a big file, it takes a while to open. There she is. View, fit it on the screen. Now, what I want to do here is I want to open filter, Camera Raw filter right there. And we're going to do some magic right here with Photoshop. And what it is, see, we're going to have profile color, we leave that alone. We're going to come down here to these three bars right here. Now, the dehazing bar, we can just go cuckoo. Let's just do that right now. Let's bang that right over. That is perhaps too much contrast. It does look pretty good, but it tends to start enhancing it so much that it looks almost like a poster. Hard to explain. Sometimes we can compensate by reducing some of the saturation with this, so it doesn't look like there's as much color. But I find that tends to wash out the picture, while it is starting to show us some more detail here, if you see that. So I'm not going to do it that way. Let's change this stuff back to 0 again. And we're going to take this back down to 0. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to do a little clarity. Let's turn the clarity up all the way and see what it does. It tends to start bringing out some of these very wispy looking things. You see that? So we can do a texture up here a little bit also. The texture now is going to really enhance the stars maybe back again too much, starting almost to look just like it's raising the noise level. So we don't want to do too much of that. Let's back this down, and let's back all these down. And I feel like that for this video, I want to go over here and show texture. See, if we go all the way over and put the texture over here, let's look at the difference. And you may not even be able to see this on YouTube, but you see the difference in the stars. It's bringing out all those pinpoint stars, which is amazing. But again, I think it takes away from the picture. So we're going to maybe reduce this down to something that looks plausible. Again, it's all about look. Maybe +7. Let's do some clarity over this way. Now this really fuzzes it out, so it's completely blurry. And then this brings the stars and the clarity back in. So I do like clarity in this case. We're going to maybe raise the clarity up pretty good, up to about 50-ish. I think that looks pretty darned amazing. Now let's play with the dehaze. That we've got the other things done, we can decide, what do we want to do with this? That's too much. We don't want it to look like that, of course. We go down to 0 again. There's passing through 0. Maybe a little bit of clarity is good for us, about 17. Maybe back down a little, about 11. Now that looks good to me. The saturation, I think, is fine. We really don't want to see much more than this. And I think I'm going to say okay with this. See what it looks like. Keep looking, it'll change there. Just a subtle change, which is what we're looking for. And those of you who are astronomers might tell me, what is that? Okay, it looks like a galaxy, but none of my plate solving shows me what it is. So if there are any astronomers out there, please please answer that for me in the comments. Okay, so let's save this off here, file, and save. And we'll save it as a TIFF. And we're going to say PS here, just to know that we did some manipulation in Photoshop. Now, the amazing thing is, if you recall in this video, I have not done anything to the color of this picture. This is a pure LRGB or HARGB color picture. And let's go ahead now back into PixInsight. And let's open it up. And we'll just compare it directly to our original PixInsight process. And we're going to see some subtle enhancements, which is okay. And if you look at both of these, we probably won't be able to tell much of a difference, honestly, between them. Yeah, okay. Here's our Photoshop enhanced version. And again, we didn't change any of the color. We did more of contrast and detail. Look right over in here, especially if you look right in there, you can see how we have brought out some more detail. It's all about the details. Okay. Let's crop this thing and we're finished. Thank you for watching the video. Again, this is the Antares region. Here's Antares right here. Here's M4, a star cluster. Probably some galaxies mixed in there too. We have our mysterious galaxy of unknown origin. I'm sure there are many people that know what it is. I just don't. And we have the different objects that are here. There are several objects in this picture. We have of course, the Antares right here, the largest star in the picture. And we really process these stars together with the picture, so they've tended to sort of blow out a little bit. But I kind of like that. It's kind of a very relaxing looking, nice looking image. For me, this section right in here is just lovely. Okay, let's do our cropping and we'll be finished. Show the cropping process. I usually pull this out a little so you can see the picture. And we're going to go in here and do our process and dynamic. Sorry, if I can get my head together here. All processes and dynamic alignment. No, dynamic crop. There we go. So we come over here and click the tool right here. This lights up the picture. And you can see we've got a line right there where the subs didn't line up exactly right through stacking, or maybe through the star alignment, probably more than anything. So we'll go like this and just not get rid of any of the image if we can help it. And I think we're going to, let's just try that, see what that looks like. We'll pull this out now as a process right there. We close the tool, close, say yes, and we pull this over in the process. Now watch that red line right here. Should go away when I drop it. There it goes. Okay. I think we're pretty good here. Looks like the other edges could be cropped. The bottom edge, there is an artifact here on the bottom. Let's go ahead and do that quickly. Process, all processes, and dynamic crop. Click this. Yeah, see the bottom, we've got another line on the bottom. I didn't see that before. Let's take that up a bit. And I think at the top we're okay, and on this side we're okay. Maybe just a hair. I didn't want to do that at all. So let's close this tool here. Because I didn't want to do that. That movement was wrong. So we go all processes, and crop again. And we will click this, do our cropping, let up high enough. I think the top one is okay. We'll leave it. just a little bit of a crop on this side. I think we're good on this side. Let's just make sure. Let's do just a slight little movement. And we will now take this process over again. Close the tool right here. Say yes. And we pull the new process over. All right. That looks pretty good. Let's take a long look at this now for the video. And now something I see here that is looking kind of unusual is this area has just a little bit of magenta in it. So let's just try one thing here. Image, let's go with view. Now what we're going to do is, let's do this again here. File. This is really kind of a moot point, but save it. Save it as, let's call it 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to eliminate some of this purple look here. Save it at 16 bits. We're going to go back into Photoshop. Let's close this one. You can really see it there, how purple that is. It doesn't really look so good. This looks pretty good over here. Kind of a bluish green, but this purple has got to go. So let's open that up. File, open. Number 2. Open. And we're going to try and do a layer here. New adjustment layer in Photoshop. And we're going to go down here to hue saturation. And we're going to say OK. Now it brings up this properties window. We're going to take it off of master, leave it on default, and come over here and do magentas. And let's just see what magentas do. See how the magentas now. Here's magentas in the center at 0. About, if I can get it on 0. That's not important, really. Since I can't do it, go to 0. Jeez. All right. There's 0. Watch right here now when I pull this over. Watch right in here that the magenta will be reduced. See that? So I think that looks a lot nicer. Maybe we won't get rid of all of it. Maybe 50, go to like 58% there. And that seems to look a lot nicer. So we'll scoot that over here. Bring up our our window layers. And we're going to merge this down right here. We say merge down. That will combine it with that. And we are done. File, save as. Save on my computer. And save as a TIFF. And actually, let's say no. Let's actually put, I always put a new file because at least, and in this case, I shouldn't have done that. Let's go up here again. Save as. Save on my computer. And I always put another name out here, you know, let's try X again, so that if you want to go back and tweak mid files again, you can. It's maybe a little bit anal. Fills up your hard drive really nice. Okay. We're now here in back into PixInsight, and let's open it. File, open. There's our last file. Again, it is a big file. That's why it takes so long to open. All right. Let's check out what we've got here. One-to-one comparison. Looks like we've gotten rid of our cropping artifact there. We've actually removed the edges on the picture, and it looks like we've gotten a little bit less of the magenta. It's questionable. It's about the same, really. But I think that does it for the video. We have successfully processed the Antares region of the sky, and I will say one more thing about it before we back the video down. The distance from here to here is 13 full moons. So this is a very wide field view. It would take 13 moons to cover that distance. And with that, this is Duane of Duane's Astrophotography, and I hope you've enjoyed the video of our Antares region and Rho Ophiuchi. You put the accent on the U. Ophiuchi. Try to say that fast. All right, that does it for the video. Clear skies, everybody.